Welcome back, everybody, to Awaken with Sam, a space for ascending souls and awakening minds. And in this episode, I'm going to be doing an Ascension update and preparing for what's to come. So, welcome again. I am Samantha. Here I am, Samantha Rodriguez, light coach, guide, mentor, teacher, and gonna bring through what we need to bring through to support us in every way and in every form. So I want to welcome you again to this space and bringing you back. Let's come back into our heart space, into our body, taking a nice deep breath. Listening to that breath and just feeling this light coming into every space and every part of your body. Relaxing your muscles, relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your neck. Bringing your light all the way down, deep, deep, deep into your root and all the way down into your feet. Allowing your feet to connect to the center of the planet so that you can feel more supported, so that you can feel more loved, so that you can feel that everything here is supporting you, no matter what you perceive, no matter what you believe. And so continuing to stay there and continuing to open up to that and continuing to receive that in every way is so, so, so important right now. So I'm going to shift you into topic for today. There's the beautiful birds singing to me right now. It's so beautiful. So just a quick side note for those that may or may not know. I'm in Mexico and we have the kids here. Schools have 2 weeks off. And so it was last week and now this is the second week. And it's been so peaceful and just so nice just to feel the calmness because there's not a lot of cars. There's not a lot of traffic. There's not a lot of people outside, period. So a lot of people are really taking the time to just kind of, rest and slow down and just be. And I was telling my mom that I feel like the birds are coming out more now that there's not a lot of cars and traffic, and it's been just so beautiful to feel that and to hear them coming out more during this time. And so I wanted to bring through an Ascension updates. I do have some things that did come through as I was preparing myself and just writing things out. And we just completed, or not completed, we're still in these Easter frequencies, by the way. We're still deep in these crystalline Christed frequencies, Christ consciousness frequencies, because of the holiday. And yet these will continue to pour down in us. But we will continue to go through the process that I've talked about yesterday, and I've been talking a little bit about it in my social, the death and the rebirth. This is a big, 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 big cyclical phase that we go through. over and over and over and over and over. It's really not a one-time thing. And in fact, nothing really is. Everything is this constant movement, right? Let me shift a little bit here. Constant movement, um, constant movement, constant up leveling, which is another big theme. Everything is up leveling and everything is. Well, what came through when I was writing is the Easter frequencies will continue to level the field. Excuse me. And what I'm feeling right now is that all of these changes that we are all going through, by the way, that we will continue to go through in many different ways, will continue to bring us into, will continue to level the field in that every single person is going to continually feel so much and go through so many changes. Okay. Sometimes we get into this feeling or get into this belief that um other people are doing better, or other people are have it better, or other people have it easier, or other people, whatever the case may be, they're not feeling this as much, or they're not going through what I'm going through. And these frequencies will continue to level that field, meaning that every single person is going to continue to go through something, and we're going to start to see this a little bit more. We're going to continually see this a little bit more in a way that allows us to feel and to perceive that so many people are really going through this, which I've mentioned before. When you start to see that you're not alone here, when you start to perceive that other people are also going through massive things, massive amounts of change, um, it 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 unifies us. It has the potential to unify us more. It has the potential to have more compassion, not just for ourselves, but for other people. It has the potential to break out of that separation that we have been living in and have been functioning from a really, really long time. So the changes are going to continue to come. Changes, not just change, mass change, collective change, deep personal changes are going to continually amp up. And the other one that I wrote is emotions. Emotions will continue to ramp up more and more and more and more. This is very normal. This is very important and very necessary for each and every single one of us, because emotions are so key. Our emotions hold so much, hold a lot of keys and codes for us. And so we get a little wrapped up in this because we're not used to feeling so much, including myself. Sometimes it's like, here we go again. Um, Feeling into the depths of the hurt, of the pain, of the abandonment, of the suffering, of the punishment, of the judgment, of everything that we have experienced is so, so, so important. Don't get too down about this in a way that you stay there. Allow yourself to move through the energy. Allow yourself to, in fact, the other day, what was this? Yesterday, but I've been through that several times recently where it's like, okay, I'm going to go deep into this, feel deeper levels of this, but I'm going to, once I feel the shift, once I feel much better, once I feel that release, I'm going to go and I'm going to just turn the channel and watch something or hear something that, brings me out of that, or brings me into a lighter tone, brings me into something that I love to watch, something that I enjoy watching, so that I can, so that I don't stay there. And you'll feel it. I've started to feel this sense of like, I can just stay there. I can let myself stay in the depths of, you know, hell. But something in my body feels like, wait a minute, I just needed to do that for like, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or whatever the case may be. I'm now coming back into this space of just peace, a space of just relaxing into the moment. And every time is different though. This is part of the reason why this process, this whole physical body ascension process for the most part, which is what a lot of us are starting to feel, a lot of us are going through more consciously, we get a little bit, it really throws us off for a loop because we're used to this step-by-step process. We're used to having some sort of order in which things occur, right? We want to be able to control things. And I mean, that's how we are able to control things, when we know what happens next and what comes next, and we know why is this happening. But this whole ascension process completely throws all of those rules and all of those perceptions out the window. Every time you go deep into an emotion, every time you feel something, every time you're clearing something, it's different. Every time your body is going to ask for something different. Every time your body, your inner child, your ego aspect is going to need something different. So this is why we open ourselves to a lot of different tools, and we open ourselves to all of these different modalities and all of these different things that support us. You want to have this, array of tools that you can always have, that you can choose from, because every experience and every clearing and every time you are in the depths of things, you will need different things, and you will need different things to support you. It's just kind of how this is. You just go with the flow. This is why it's so important to be so present in every moment, so that you can feel more of what is needed, feel more of what will support you, because everything changes all the time. But again, emotions will continue to ramp up. You will go through these roller coasters that I call them, roller coasters of emotions, roller coaster of feelings all the time. And this could be emotionally, this could be This could be pertaining to like your own self-beliefs. This could be about where you're going, the path you're taking, the things that you're choosing. All of that will go up and down all the time. One day you'll be super pumped and super confident and super ready to go. And then the next day it's like you're not as much. You're not as confident. You're more emotional. You're more sensitive. You'll have to work through more things and you'll have to go deeper inside. Part of everyone will be in different phases. So just take this and just breathe this and know that you may or may not be in this phase. But there's a lot of and I've gone through this and I'm somewhat also all still going through it in different levels. But you'll have these ideas, you'll have these, things show up, projects, uh, projects, direction, business, ideas, all of these different things might start to come up for you. But before you start taking action steps towards that, there might be a lot of different things for you to feel deeper into. So just because you're not, have this, just because you don't have that much clarity on it, just because you don't have the confidence yet to go after or, go into those ideas, it doesn't mean that you won't. Your body is supporting you by bringing everything up that is blocking you, that will at some point block you, that, will bring you back down, that will make you lose all confidence. It sometimes it will support you in bringing all of those things up to the surface so that you can feel them now, so that you can become better prepared, so that you can feel much, much, much more confident and be, feel much more in peace and have this ease while you're taking those steps. So it may take weeks, it may take months. I've gone through it for a year or more, where it's just kind of sifting through the frequencies, sifting through, like feeling deeper into your own blockages, feeling deeper emotions, connecting to deeper ego aspects of yourself, so that you can get a lot of that kind of out of the way. So it's almost like coming into a completely leveled field, and you have this amazing idea, this amazing project or amazing business, that you want to bring forth and you want to create. But you do need an office and you do need a building and you do need all of these different things. And so it takes time to build the foundation. That's exactly what's happening. Actually, you're building the foundation of this idea. It's going to take some time, sometimes, depending on how long that will take. But it will take time for you to build that build that foundation and have the necessary structure needed in order for you. Oh, I see why. In order for you to have the actual building, right? So the foundation will take time. It will take time to build the structure, build the walls, build the ceiling, have all of the necessary tools and furniture inside of the building too. It'll take time. So before you start And I'm not saying that will happen all the time or every time, because every time is different. But you see what I mean? Like you will have this like space in between for you to prepare for that, because you still have to build a foundation, you have to build the walls, and you may not be able to get started in the way that you may want to right away. Breathe and bring through the energy of patience. And if that is a little bit hard or challenging, then actually, in order for you to have more patience, you have to continually feel into where you don't have the patience, where you're getting frustrated, where you're getting angry, where you're impatient, where you want things right away, where you want things, where you want to control every bit of this process. You're going to have to feel into all of those different things. That is how we start to embody, and that is how we start to open up to all of these the energy of patience, the energy of flow, the energy of simplicity. Part of what's happening with this leveling up too, leveling the field, is the stability that we once knew will no longer be. The stability that we once had, the stability that we were very attached to, the stability that we had in whatever area of our lives is going to continue to shift. Okay. Sometimes we talk a lot about falling and collapsing, and I know that may feel a little bit drastic. And one thing that I want to bring through is just know that it will change at some level, because it is meant to change. In fact, everything will always be change, need to change. It's meant to, everything is meant to change, because everything is energy and everything is moving. So all of the old structures will continue to be destabilized. Okay. We have already started to see this all across the board in different ways throughout different structures of our physical reality, within the structures of the 3D matrix, within the structures of what what our society has been built on. All of these are changing. All of these are starting to become less stable. All of these are at some level falling and collapsing. And that is also because we need to level the field in order to bring something new, in order for a new structure to come up, in order for us to create new systems and new structures. The house does need to fall down in order to build a completely new one with a better foundation, with solid structures. It's almost like, I always bring this example, the three little pigs. Okay, the first one had the house of straws, the first one had a house of wood. Like, it was all very unstable because they fell very quickly, right? Well, this is what the old structures were built on. There was literally a house of cards. Very unstable, very impure, distorted beyond belief. They were all built on our own internal darkness, our own internal fears, our own internal lack. And so all of those are not going to survive in this new age of Aquarius. What element What's the element of Aquarius? Wind. So this is perfect example with the three little pigs because the wolf comes up, the wolf comes around and just puffs and he puffs and he just blows the houses down. Well, this is coming through as the age of Aquarius. So the age of Aquarius, let's not, go into the, oh my God, the big bad wolf is here. The age of Aquarius is the age where everything gets renovated. Everything gets leveled so that everything can be rebuilt. This is the age of Aquarius that we've been in for a while, and a lot of people might disagree. Everyone kind of has their own perceptions and different systems, also different schools of thought also have their own beliefs as well. But this was, back in 2012. We all remember 2012. We all remember the Mayan prediction, right? This was the end of an era. However, our universe, God's source, higher power, knows that things really can't change overnight and that people need this cushion, this like grace period to really get used to the change that's coming. So, as when I feel into things, when I tune into these frequencies, we were granted a 12 to 13 year window. And, we'll still have next year and the following year that things will continue to be. The washing machine is going to amp up. So everything's going to just get washed up in a way. But we've had this 13-year window of grace. Now, of course, 2020 was a big shift for all of us. That was meant to prepare us for what was or what is to come. So we've had in that 13 window from 2020 until now, we've had 5 years of also grace time to make certain changes, to make certain shifts in our realities. And by the way, a lot of us went through those changes. We were pushed into those changes in 2020 because consciously we weren't ready to make those changes on our own. Like we weren't ready to make those changes consciously. We weren't ready to quit those jobs. We weren't ready to quit those relationships. We weren't ready for that. And so 2020 happened to push us into those changes. So some of us did do those changes consciously. Awesome. And some people's reality shifted and their universe made those changes for them, which is also what happens to us too. Like everything happens to everyone, right? This isn't about whether you're this open or this awake or this ascended. Like everyone will go through every single experience at some level. And so again, we've had this 5-year window, quote unquote, of like semi grace time to get more prepared, to get more accustomed to this faster speed, faster changes. I still see this, this year and the next 2 years where I say this and I might not say what I was going to say, but everything will be a preparation. Everything. Because everything is relative. So while let me just breathe and remind you that none of this is linear. Everything is energetic. One of the biggest things to remind yourself of is that energy will continue to increase, meaning that energy will start to move faster and faster and faster and faster. Also, meaning changes are going to happen faster and faster and faster and faster. This is all relative, and this is all based on where you are, based on what you're going through right now, based on the themes that you're working on in your reality right now, the realities that you're moving through right now. So some people will feel the change differently. Okay. So, and it's very this whole this everything, all of this really fascinates me because of how different things work than what we thought they were. How we thought they worked. A lot of the changes, for me, have been, not to say that they haven't been in the physical. Yes, there's been physical. In fact, there's been quite a bit of physical changes, but there's still a lot of internal. There's more internal change that happens for me right now. A lot of internal change, a lot of shifting, a lot of deep clearings, deep emotional clearing, mental clearing, anchoring. The anchoring has been deep, probably for the past few years. And I know all of that is preparing me for deeper levels of physical change that that are happening. However, I know that they will continue to occur in bigger ways and in a bigger scale in the next, 2 to 5 years, let's say. So the biggest thing about preparing for what's to come is continuing to allow what is happening right now in your body. That will always, always, always upon always upon always upon always be one of the biggest keys, is to continually allow and honor what is happening inside of you, what you are feeling and what you are sensing, what you are resisting, where you're still fighting, where you're still believing in the old stuff. The more that we allow the internal shifts and changes to occur, the easier things, the easier we're going to be able to navigate through all of the physical changes that you will go through. Okay. Our linear minds have this perception about, or have this one of like, we want change now. We want the old to just completely disappear overnight. Or we want more things to happen, or more of this new earth to come up, more of our heaven to show up. But we completely forget that everything happens from deeper and from deep inside of us. Nothing can't occur, nothing can show up, and nothing can change in the physical without it occurring first inside of you. And that is one of the biggest things that we all resist. We resist this internal change. We resist going deeper and feeling deeper into our emotions. We resist all of these thoughts and all of these beliefs. We resist what's happening in our body because we do not understand it. So you see how we are preventing the very things that we want. We are preventing or elongating or whatever the case may be. And yes, this is true at some level, but we're also making it a little bit softer and more graceful for ourselves too at some level. Part of there's going to be so much, and it is a little bit, how can I say this? There's so much. Everything is so energetically and everything is so quantum right now. Everything changes on a dime. But I like to like my energy and my higher self always going to bring me back to like keeping it simple, bringing you back in basics and reminding us, remembering that change is inevitable. Okay. Every single person is going through their own level of change. Every single person is going through their own level of dissolution, collapse, breaking point, um, emotional roller coaster. Every single person is going through their own leveling. Everything is leveling, meaning that everything is shifting and falling in different ways. And the biggest thing is to continually allow what is happening in your reality and continuing to allow yourself to feel everything that is going on in your reality, because that will bring you back into a much, much, much stable space inside. The biggest thing about all of this is that right now, everything that is happening in your reality is supporting you so that you can become more mentally, emotionally, energetically, and physically stable. Meaning, this is what we used to do before. This is how we were taught. Bless me. The stability that we held on to came from something we perceived to be outside, right? So we had our stability in our jobs, right? We had our stability in our paycheck, weekly paycheck or biweekly or monthly paycheck. That was the stability that and like it's part of a stability. However, it was most of our stability was held on that external source. External. So my job, my paycheck, my social security, or even like a person, right? Could be parents, could be partners, could be kids. We latched on, we were attached to this perceived stability. Okay. And for most of us in 2020, that got shaken. Okay. However, that occurred for you, that sense of stability got shaken. And for a lot of us, got taken away. So something that we were, that created this sense of stability in our lives got removed or changed in some way, because this level of stability isn't as stable as we once thought. Jobs, our businesses, all of these things, we started to see how things could change in a day, could change in a minute. And so the biggest thing that I want to open you up to right now is that this is about remembering and recognizing that the true, pure stability comes from within you. The stability that we all need to have to better prepare for all that's coming is to have a deeper connection with what we have inside, with who we are, with who we've been, with our emotions, with our thoughts, with our body, with everything that is inside. Because the more that we have this sense of connection, the more stable we become. Meaning that it doesn't matter whether this gets taken away or this moves or this changes, right? Or or whatever, I get fired or I get, pushed away or whatever the case may be. You will no longer be so attached to that sense of stability anymore, because you've replaced it with becoming more stable inside. Right? So the more that we allow ourselves to feel, the more we allow ourselves to have this deeper connection with our light, with our soul, with our emotions, with our body, the less attached we become to everything that is perceived to be outside of ourselves. The less dependent. This was the biggest thing about 2020, is that we started to realize how the level of dependency we had with the things that we really had very little control over. Okay. This is about becoming more dependent on our light, our source, our higher power, whatever you want to call it. There's a whole bunch of different names to this: soul, light, God, source, universe. This is about regaining that sacred connection to that part of ourselves, because that is who will always have our backs. That is who will always support us in the way that we need to. That is where our physical resources and physical level of support will come from. Okay. That's the source of everything. Everything else is just a channel to bring you that, but it's not the source. You are the source. The source is inside of you. And so, again, coming back to all of these different systems, all of these different levels of these structures that were built on the house of cards, that will build on straw, and were built on very weak that were built on weakness, are going to continually shift and change. We are going to continually be pushed so that we no longer solely rely and depend on those systems. This is about coming back to ourselves. This is about coming back to what who we are, what we are, and how much we actually matter, how much we actually create our own reality, which is a whole, deeper conversation. But the more that you start to open up to this journey and open up to your own to that deeper path of self, the more you're going to realize how everything will start to shift to support this, to support you in a way that you've never probably experienced, the way that you probably never thought was possible. So one question that came through, to further support. I know I talked a little bit about, preparing, this preparation. And I like to call it, I like to bring through preparation instead of predictions. Because even on myself, I get all caught up in, like, the predictions of what's going to happen next, right? And when is this going to happen next? And oh my God, why is it not here yet? And all of these different things that our linear mind goes through. And again, this is also for me, there is this, what happens is that your physical eyes can only perceive so much. And this has actually been proven. Like, your physical eyes can only perceive, a fraction of what's actually happening. Okay, because your physical eyes do not have the capability. They are not yet fully connected to higher levels of consciousness. In a way, I mean, yes and no, to actually perceive what's going on underneath the surface. And so while we might be waiting for the physical things to change, again, there is so much change, so much more change, or there's so much change that needs to happen underneath first. There's so much change that has to happen inside of each and every single one of us. And as this occurs, the physical change that we will start to see will be experienced differently. Many people will continue to experience it in many different ways. We have to continually open up to softness. That while the whole world, you know, will be shaken up, the biggest thing is to continually maintain your own level of stability, your own level of strength that will come from inside of you, so that your boat doesn't get as rocked, if that makes sense. So the question came through, to support you in opening yourself up more and more. What are you avoiding? What are you avoiding seeing and feeling? What do you not want to see? What do you not want to feel? And just I want you to just feel this and just breathe this in. Because there is still a lot of things in every single one of us, because there's always going to be more things to see and more things to feel. Always upon always upon always, this will never change. The only constant is change. That will never change. We're always expanding. There's always going to be more to see. There's always going to be more to feel. Always upon always upon always upon always. And so really opening yourself up to, what do I not want to see? What do I not want to feel right now? What is going on? What am I afraid to know? What am I afraid to feel? What am I afraid to see? Because one of the biggest keys to this preparing for what's to come is that we need to be willing, and we need to be able to see all that's been buried deep, deep, deep inside of us. We need to continually feel into our own stuff, because it will be easier to withstand, and it's going to be easier to see everything that's going to continually show up, come up, be revealed, be seen, in our external, in the outside world. Part of why there's a lot of things that haven't come up to the surface yet in our external, like at a collective level, in our external realities and the media of the deeper stuff that's been going on, is because we are still preparing for it. We're still not ready for that. It's almost like it's almost like just, you know, bringing a lay person, just a regular, John Doe, into a surgery room and bringing him into this space where, someone is cutting up a body, right? When there's a surgery, when you're cutting up a body, you're going to start to see all the stuff that's inside of us that is not something that anybody that hasn't had any medical training, that hasn't had any biology classes, any of those, any sort of um, study in the human body. It's not something that anyone can just be ready for without gagging or without fainting or without, you know, getting traumatized by. Because there's so many, our physical bodies, which is all changing, but we don't really know what's inside, right? Because of how it's structured and because of how our physical eyes are structured right now. But this is kind of the example that I want to bring through. We're getting prepared to go into and seeing more things. And in that same example, it's like we have to be willing to see what's inside of us first before we can be fully ready and capable and stable enough to see what's been going on in the external. So we're being prepared right now. We've just shifted gears again, and then we've entered a new sign. We've entered a new energy, which is interesting because it's like, well, we're still in April though. So it was an interesting kind of realization of like how everything overlaps. And while we're still in this month of April, there's already a new energy coming through. But I still feel this like the fire and the earth are um are becoming one in a way. But everything will continue to prepare us. everything will continue to become, everything will continue to ground inside of ourselves. So, gonna wrap it up with that. Continue to bring things back to this now and continue to connect to your body more and more and more and more. I will just do that right now by taking a few conscious breaths together. Dropping your shoulders, dropping your arms, breathing all the way down into your root space. Remembering that everything is here to support you. Everything is here to guide you. Everything is here to up-level you. Everything is here to expand you. And just continue to open up because you are more ready than you think. So leaving you with that, thank you for being here. Thank you for being open. Thank you for joining us. Until next time.